Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop. All the news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's the host.
Welcome to Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Katherine Reed, and joining me tonight is Katherine White. She is one of the co-founders of Network Nova. No stranger to this program, I might add, is that over the years, starting in 2017, we have interviewed Katherine numerous times. But this is a special year, isn't it, Katherine?
It is. Every year is a special year.
But it is because now all of a sudden, you know, you went, and I want you to recap your founding story for those who may not know Network Nova. But you have gone from a small group of women with a big idea who put on a summit in 70 days in 2017. Our
first summit, yes.
And what you're doing now, it will take the whole hour to discuss.
Yeah, it would be, but thank you for this opportunity to come talk again about Network Nova, because it's probably one of my, really, in my lifetime, proudest moment to co-found this organization. Had no clue that this would happen. You know, I went back to college, get my master's, going to start a nonprofit or do something great when I'm in my 50s. And then lo and behold, there was an election and I felt I needed to get involved, the election, and that, you know, everybody would call that terrible day when things
terrible day, that
for
dark,
women
dark day.
Specifically, or democracy, it felt like a threat. And a lot of women rose up across the country, and in Virginia, especially women got involved, you know, because we're just so close across the river to DC, that power base there, that we organized to get into the first Women's March in 2017. And we met up with girlfriends who all wanted to go. And that has really been the power source every one of these years. We organized to get into that march. We met other women and other groups rising up, and Network Nova came out of that kind of that melting breeding pot there. And groups like Indivisible, Swing Lefts, all these groups. And Network Nova found its power in networking and then getting involved in electoral politics. To sum it up, I mean, it was really fun and crazy.
It was a crazy time, but I think one of my favorite stories about the Women's March, and I was there.
Yes.
You know, we had planned to go for Hillary's inauguration and had hotel rooms downtown.
Oh, nice.
So we didn't cancel the reservation.
Right.
We ended up going to the Peace Ball at the Museum of African American Culture. Well, which Andy Shalal from Busboys and Poets does the Peace Ball. So we went there, and we skipped the inauguration, and then we just stayed on in the city for the Women's March. So we were there, but you had a very clever way of getting women there, and that's my favorite story.
Yeah, we had all different ways. I mean, the co-founder, Stair Calhoun, and Robin Zeff Warner's on the team as well now, and she founded Postcards for Virginia. But this, you know, trio is really dynamic. We all play different roles, and Stair is an excellent networker. So we decided from all over the state, you know, Hear Our Call was our big thing from the Women's March, and we organized women by train, you know, by bus, and we did take our bus in. And then I got this crafty idea. I'm like, you know, there was an inauguration going on, and there were boats up the river going, the Potomac River Company, and Trump had inauguration, had all these boats scheduled, but no one on them. So I called the company and I said, hey, would you, you know, will you allow us to book one boat? And then we filled every single boat. So we were coming up the river, going in by train, and also coming in by bus, and I fell short of a helicopter.
Well, you pretty much got almost everything else except a helicopter.
I would have liked that look,
but the boat, I have to tell you, I would not have thought coming in, you were like George Washington on, you know, on the Delaware.
Yeah.
You know, and there you were with your boats full of women. Boats full of women coming into the city.
Yeah, and I think it really informed my work that you have to think outside the box.
Yes.
There's no way, you know, you have to think of all these different ways to do your work. And also, because we're grassroots, we try to do it as affordable and inclusive as we can. So, you know, finding all these different ways to get in was really important. And then once we did that, we really just felt so powerful, because it was, you know, Stair's been a friend forever, but also now we got into business together, right? And we're just decided to start this organization. And that was the first idea of getting an event going, was to turn our, you know, we were electing, meeting candidates, trying to understand that how you change democracy is you really think about advocacy, issues, of course, but then getting people into office to work on those issues you care about, right? So we figured that out. And we started this Adopt a Candidate program. We found that candidates needed help, like Wendy Goditis that stood up at Loudon, Kathy Tran, and we started helping those candidates. And then also we decided, you know what? or I'll say decided, that we were inspired by the women's Seneca Falls, how women gather together. We're like, we need a galvanizing event.
Yes.
And that became the Women's Summit. And you said the first one, 2017, 70 days, all the candidates on the stage, advocacy fair. And we had a lot of fun. We had a band and everything, so it was
great.
Good.
It's great. I've been to every single one.
Yeah,
and
energizing, engaging.
And that first one was
Right.
a triumph, mainly because you put it together, and they came.
Yeah,
from
build it and
everywhere.
they'll come. Absolutely.
You know, and so the word got out, and it's not like you had a huge budget or a huge staff or even a.
No, we didn't have that. We really didn't.
You
And
didn't.
That's another thing, you know, trying to figure out how to organize this. This was new to me. You know, not working for a company. We started our own company. We're an LLC. And most people will say, are you a nonprofit? Are you a C3, C4? We're like, no. And it's really allows us to do event planning.
Right.
And it allows us to do whatever the heck we want. You know,
Go
we have
you.
to pay taxes, but it allows us to not sit there. I was on a call tonight, for instance, and it was a lot of things we can't do with. We're C3,
Oh, right,
we're
C4,
C4,
C6,
and I'm sitting there
all-
going, dude, I'm free. LLC.
You can do whatever you
We
want.
could do whatever we want, which gives us, you know, figuring out how we're going to engage an event. People love to get together. I think specifically women. This is where we get our energy, working in community, meeting other people, and that event just grew like.
Exponentially. It just divided and divided and divided.
Right.
And so you went from one event put together in 70
Right.
days, and this year you actually have done 3 events in
gosh.
3 different areas
Yeah.
of Virginia.
Yeah, it's crazy. So when I think about the day after the summit and then the election, and I think it's sort of like golf. You know, you hit one good shot, you go back, even though you may have had some kind of failures. But we really were successful. We're like, okay, let's do this again. So we kept organizing and learning each year. 18 was really important. We elected 3 women to Congress: Elaine Luria, Abigail Spanberger, Jennifer Wexton. And that was huge. And it's on the line again. They're back you know, this year, and the House is on the line. So for us, that's really important. And that, you know, we did that, and we doubled our numbers. We were 800 people at that event. And then, you know, want more success? We wanted it all. Taking back power. When going into 2019, we had 1,000 people at
That
our
was
event.
great. That
But
was
we
at
kept
Tyson's
winning.
Corner.
We kept, and unexpectedly, we started to grow our tactics. You know, we started to think, you know, regular Democratic Party stuff is a little like, could be a little boring, a little stale.
Right.
We entered in with postcards, and there comes the superpower of Robin Warner, and other groups started writing. And now you'll see people talk about postcards all the time. But when we brought it up, people poo-pooed it. They're like, postcards don't
Oh
work.
my gosh, postcards do work, and not only
Right.
that, it builds community.
Yes, people
So
love to
it's a
write.
twofer. So
Right.
postcards, I know that there are postcard groups that are writing for Raphael Warnock in Georgia
I actually
and
have
all over.
cards at home I'm writing for. I don't know why, but I picked some more up. Like I have something, I need something to do. But yes, so we write for out of state,
Right.
and we write for in-state, and we write to get out the vote, and we write to register. You know, we try to get people to register. So it is really, we just expanded and try to figure out how do we help people get engaged? How do we kind of really expand democracy and people's engagement in it? And I think people were really hungry for this too. We realized we were a little bit asleep when you're not watching what's going on.
Complacency.
Somebody's still in the, you know,
Complacency.
something out of your pocket in the back. You're like, I better wake up and watch what's going on. But 19 really got us excited because we were so inspired. It turned into a 3-day event. We had even a badass breakfast on Sunday, you know, from the feminist majority with Ellie Schmill talk at that one. That was really quite exciting. And then we booked the hotel for the next year, expecting double our numbers.
Yeah, that was a great idea. But then reality happened,
Yeah.
and then the unexpected, and so COVID, right?
Yeah, COVID just blew that out of the water. And you know, it's again a thing you learn as when you get into this business of activism. You have to learn how to be flexible.
Pivot, right?
Pivot, don't give up. Think, what are we going to do? So we started a study on, we called the hotel. We kind of were watching it beforehand too, and we were able to put it to the next year, thinking we would do it the next year. And we said, well, we're going to try this online thing. And we did it. And we did in 2020, we did it online, and not one day, we did it 11 days. And that was before people were zoomed out.
Yeah, it was. But that gave people a
Yeah.
chance to drop in.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had far more people, more speakers,
Yes.
more workshops, more everything. And people didn't have to tune in for 11 straight days. They could
Yeah.
pick like what things they wanted to attend.
You know, it was kind of exciting. It was a silver lining of what you can do. And actually, in a weird way, COVID opened up a whole new universe that we wouldn't have probably used. Like, we could now talk to people across our state and organize with them. They didn't have to come to the summit. If they were out in Southwest, they can just participate. And we really grew this idea and really expanded our activism. And now we're actually working across states. Online has become this really just amazing link to just do more. I mean, I think now we're a little bit have to be worried about how much we use it, but gosh, we were able to do all our programming on there. And it was really cool. You still have to be exciting. We always make it exciting. We have music, singers.
I think you do.
We bring. We really have our audience in mind. It's really to really engage them, keep people engaged, and keep them on target. But yeah, that was amazing because out of that, came the next phase of our life because we had all this content, and we started doing programming on Fridays at noon, and then our team was like, how about this idea of just doing a Friday power lunch? So, I mean, that was really, never would have happened if it wasn't for COVID. And here I am sitting now doing events like the Women's Summit, and then now we're producing a weekly show.
I know, and again, every challenge has presented an opportunity.
Yes.
Which you say that, and I say it all the time, like in every challenge.
Something your mother would say, yeah.
There's an opportunity. Yeah, and you're right. People are like, yeah, sure, that sounds
exactly.
lovely. Mm-hmm. But it really is. If you make up your mind that you're going to figure it out.
Yeah, and you have to have a team around you that believes in you, and we're definitely this trio works, and we all have different skill sets, and we couldn't, if one of us sort of departed, it would be really hard to find the replacement because we each do something different. But really, we said, let's do it. And we now have a Patreon series so you could subscribe. We could get in more in detail with the Friday Power Lunch. But I think there's opportunities that one thing about this getting into activism or organizing, you always have to be looking at what's coming at you. And I think our superpower is not getting complacent, not just staying in that place.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think that after this break,
yes,
we are going to come back and talk further with Katherine White about Network Nova. And for those of you who have maybe just been hearing about this for the first time, networknova.org is your go-to place to find out about what they're doing, how you can get involved, what's coming up next. And consider becoming an active part in your own community, because Network Nova is not just Northern Virginia.
No,
although
Nova
it says
now.
It's
all
Nova.
over. It's Nova.
It's Nova. It's Rova. It's all of Virginia.
Nova now is nebulous, so we're like we're celestial beings all across Virginia and all across the country.
So after the break, you're going to come back and hear more about that from Katherine White, who is a co-founder of Network Nova.
I can't believe we broke Old Man Hennessy's window.
Correction, dude. You broke. I just threw the ball.
This is really bad. What are we gonna do?
We? Go to the door, ask for the ball back.
Are you serious?
It's my ball, Myrtlebeck.
You're so dead. I'd run away.
Yeah, to Uruguay.
Kiss your life goodbye. Sorry.
Let's go. See you, dude. See ya. Remember me and your well.
Nice one. Some friends you are. Hi. Tell him it was an accident. And we can fix the window. Come on. I'll come with you.
Loyalty. Pass it on.
You go first.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. Wanted some matches and that's no good. Listen to smoke before you give it a try.
Only you.
Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very funny about nothing very nice. Homeless minds. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches. Don't play with fire.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health
at seizetheawkward.org.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Welcome back to Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Katherine Reed, and we are talking with Katherine White, who is the co-founder of Network Nova. So Katherine, when we went to our break, we were talking about the power lunch having grown out of learning to be online and learning that you need to be online regularly, not just once a year at a summit. So what was that thought process? What was the meeting around the table that said this is something we should try?
Well, it sort of just kind of grew. You know, when we talked about coming out of canceling the event and going online, what you also have to do is also grow new skills. It's not, you know, you really have to learn if you want to stay current and sort of know how to really reach people effectively and do all the things that you need to do in this business. Then, you know, we upped our skills in online. So we had to learn how to use Zoom, how to do all the innovative things. And when we went to enough Zooms, like how boring they could be, and how, you know, so then when we started to do the online content and then drive it into this weekly show, we really got better and better at like how we produced a show. So we had to also, luckily we have a team, different people know how to do different things. I concentrate on curation of the programming, what I think people would love to hear about, and try to reach out to guests and ask people like you, hey, who's doing what? Because you're always good, you're so connected. And then Stair has her part in it. She runs the controls in the back, so people, you know, you have to worry about a lot of things when you do this weekly show. Security, trolls coming in, you know, we've had problems with that, so you're learning new things all the time. But the purpose of this, what we found out, was that activism is about being persistent. Showing up every week, having that persistent through COVID when people were trapped at home and had nothing to do. What an opportunity to capture an audience. And we built a community.
You did.
This is community building, and it's really amazing how we took advantage of it. So you imagine that it is really key that you're just, people know when you're going to be there, you're there every week, and we actually just really grew these friendships, and people love to show up, and they can write postcards while they listen, they can go for a walk while they listen. But as we got better and better, and we really made it fun, so we would do spins of the wheel, you know, literally for prizes, buttons, things. We had even badass underwear we gave away, and hats, you know, fun stuff. But this was really it was really, again, all built around the issues. There are different people that were speaking on, let's just say Moms Demand Action. Maybe it was a new nonprofit. Maybe even a local bakery doing something cool, you know, special interest topics. But it was just it's also a blast. But we learned how to do it just by studying and getting new, good at certain kind of, what do you call it, hardware you have to learn.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Well, so you've got this sort of, I will call it a template.
Right.
So first of all, you remind people about the power lunch on Friday and who you're going to have. And there's always a graphic that says these are the guests, and you can sign up here, and there's a link to sign up, unless you are a Patreon, which I am, and then you're just automatically signed up every time. And I just get the link every week, right? So ding dong, and you can click it, including from your phone. But you've got intro music, and it's always high energy.
We dance in.
You dance in.
You
dance in, and then, you know, and you've got a team now too beyond your original team. So Fanal Norton. And Louisa does an advocacy.
Boraski, she's the leader of the Virginia Grassroots Coalition. Yeah, so you're right. So, you know, when we started this from the first year, again, if you would have told me, you know, 7 years ago that I would be doing a weekly show, there'd be no way that our LLC expanded to media production. We're a media show now. We're doing events, we're doing media. I don't know what's next. I can't wait. I want my own TV show.
Well, yeah, you're great because you are the host. You are the host. So you're the face and the voice, and you've got all these people working behind, and then you've got all these segments, these regular segments.
Yes.
But I think one of two things that are amazing is the chat, because people are just talking in the chat. But then you have this after chat once the 1 hour power lunch, and then you're like, for people who want to stay on and have a chat with each other. So people who are doing this on their lunch break, they're like, yeah, really an hour, I've got to go. They have to drop off.
Yeah, those people do.
Those people drop off. But some of your guests will stay on. So your guest speakers will stay on. The other people will stay on, and they ask questions. But it's all very well managed, right? So if
Yes.
people have a question, you call on them and they ask their question.
Right. People
Meanwhile, in the
pre-behave.
chat, people are like sharing information
Yeah.
and sharing links and having conversations and talking about things in the chat. It's
Yeah.
very dynamic. I mean, there's a lot going on every Friday in this show.
Oh yeah, and it's really a week to week. I mean, we're always looking for guests, and we're formulating topics and themes. And sometimes it's a serendipitous. Like, I'm so excited. On August 26th, Dahlia Lithwick is coming on, and she's the Supreme Court guru. Writes about it. It's on Slate.com. She does Amicus. And for me, I'm so excited that we are actually able to get really interesting guests because we have so much people coming. We have over 100 to 200 people come every week. We do it live, and then we tape it and we put it up on our YouTube channel on networknova.org. You can go to YouTube and find it. But that's been really fun when, because it is still this idea where you're educating and engaging. You're informing and you're empowering. You're doing calls to action. So it's not just like, we do the Women's Summit. There's a reason behind it. We do the Friday Power Lunch. It is intentional. We want to grow this community. We want to inform people. We want to get them engaged. And we also just want to make politics fun, right?
Right.
And they keep coming back because of it. I think, we do try to make it entertaining, because it's Zoom, right? So,
But I think a couple things. You make it accessible. In
make
other
it
words, you don't
accessible.
have to have a degree in political science.
No.
You just have to be interested.
Right.
And you can sit and listen. You don't
Right.
have to participate until you feel like, well, I've got something to say. And then you're comfortable because now you know who some of the people are who come every single week.
Right.
It is a community. People do form relationships.
Yes.
And they also garner, education. As you said, you're educating people, so now they know what the terms mean, and they know what you're talking about, and so they can jump in and participate. And I think this is especially for women, this is a great way to get involved. It's not intimidating.
No, not at all.
And then you find these lovely people who are just as interested and passionate and engaged and enthusiastic as you are. And then there are things to do. I mean, there's always. And this is where I think Louisa does a great job in going through the grassroots and saying, well, this is the bill and this is the thing and this is what we need you to do and you need to write or you need to call or you need to sign the petition.
No, and that's really true. That we put it out in segments, and she takes over the grassroots coalition. So again, this is building kind of power amongst groups. And so all those coalition leaders, it all works out, doesn't it? We have the coalition separately, we have calls, and then on the Friday show, we're able to talk to people about it and then spread that information across Virginia. So then it's this cross-pollination that happens a lot. And so then in the after chat that happens after one, where everybody can share, what a great way for everybody. We'll have people come on and say, in North Carolina, we need this. We need canvassers, we need money. California always, is coming in and they talk about what they're doing. Michigan, Connecticut, Boston. And we learn from each other. What are you doing? So it's a really great way to also learn. And another real interesting thing I never imagined is what we would capture historically. After the insurrection, it was only a couple of days that we had, a Friday Power Lunch was on. When the insurrection was what, on a Wednesday or Thursday or something crazy?
It was the 6th, whatever day
Something.
that was.
And then we had the Congressman Jerry Conley on because he was scheduled to come on. And he came on and he told the story of what it was like to be here, at the Capitol that day. And he started to get teared up and emotional. It's the first time he told the story. Well, it's historically documented on the Power Lunch. This was history.
Right.
What he talked about, he didn't talk about it anywhere else. So we broke that news, and that was pretty amazing. We've had moments like that on our show that just overwhelmed because people, it's just the story breaks, were able to capture it and share it across. And of course, it's been all over the internet, what he said. But that's pretty, I never, that's kind of a unique byproduct.
It is,
of
and
it.
I would say the same thing about when the Roe memo was first leaked.
Yes,
when it was first leaked,
yes.
And there was just sometimes it feels almost like it's group therapy.
Yeah,
like people need to be with other people who think that the world is about to end, or it feels that way.
Right.
And people need to be with other people who understand how everyone
is
feeling.
Yeah.
And so it was the leaked memo, and it's like we knew it was coming, and then when it came, it was like being slapped in the face. Even though you knew you were going to be slapped,
it was a horrible
it was still
day.
the impact of feeling someone slap you in the face.
No, it was a gut punch. And luckily, that was the first day of our Women's Summit tour for this year. So we're into 2022 all in to win, like
Yep.
the T-shirt, like that.
Love
That's
your
good. It's good
T-shirt.
T-shirt. You know, we like swag. That's
Yeah,
another
I know.
superpower we have.
I love your
we have
swag.
T-shirts, and this year we even have for the summit
Leggings.
these colorful legging pants,
I
because
saw
you know
those.
we
Those
got to
were
look
great.
good when you do this stuff. But yeah, and we had it at Nova Community College, and candidates came. We had we had a good showing, a couple hundred people. A really good segment, but that's when Roe fell. And I would tell you, the attendees always they said to me, thank God I had a place to go. So that was June 24th was our first kickoff for the first stop on the Women's Summit this year. And we were in community. And I mean, it was like, it really brought people back up, and we, really gave them that feeling that if we just have to keep working at this, and we'll figure this out, and we're going to turn this ship at some point. But
and you also had all of your, your partners and your coalition at your advocacy fair. So so Repro Rising Virginia, which is formerly NARAL Pro-Choice Virginia.
Yes.
Tarina Keene did a breakout workshop on Roe and how we are going to message and how we're going to fight back and what we're going to do next. And you'd already scheduled that.
Yes, we're always thinking ahead. So that's part, it's part of the business, like, when you do this show, it's constantly looking at the paper. I'm constantly reading, because I do a lot of the, I guess the word curation of the programming.
Right.
So it really comes out of the noggin, and I'll work on the graphic, and all the teams have a different piece of it. And Stair does a great piece that you had mentioned in our conversation before I came on, the badass briefing,
yes,
the readout. So we just don't do one-offs. It's not just a show and everything goes away and we don't do something with it. So you get a recap of that show that gives you all the calls to action, all the info in there. And then during the week, to people who sign up or subscribers to the briefing, you get just calls to action and all kind of information. So we deliver that for anybody that wants it. It's free. All of it is free to anybody, and the power lunch is free. It's just if you're a Patreon that you support it, but you can come in the room, anybody could participate. But those are really important, that you're capturing this information. It's going somewhere, it's meaningful. Like I said, it's intentional and it's persistent, which really makes it effective.
There's no question. And I think curation of the information so that it's not just a huge amount of data that's dumped. I love the fact that you've got your Monday messaging and your Tuesday tidbits and your badass
the
briefings.
Tuesday tidbits, yes.
But it's kind of all of these things come together so that you're getting constant information in bite-sized pieces. It's not all a data dump on one day or once a month or once a year.
Right.
It's kind of like you're getting it, and as it evolves and changes, you're getting updates on it.
Right.
And that's what I really want our viewers to understand at home too.
Right.
Is this is one of the best ways to get information on complicated topics, is to be in a community of people and a well curated show with information that comes at you. When we come back from our next break, we are going to be talking
I can't
further.
wait.
I know, we're going to be talking further with Katherine White. She is one of the co-founders of Network Nova. And this is the organization, and these are the women in Northern Virginia who are blazing a trail for all of us to figure out how to better engage in politics, to make an impact.
Your time is gonna come. Your time is gonna come. It's up to you to reach out to be that friend who comes along. Your day is gonna come.
When you make a friend, you make a difference.
Your day is gonna come.
Friendship. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Good one, son.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing.
Wow! I'm so proud of you, son.
And then we went on Thunder Shark. That was awesome! Let's go again. 3 times. I gotta say, it was pretty cool.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
What's it feel like when a woman's having a heart attack? Chest pain, like there's a ton of weight on your chest. Severe shortness of breath. Unexplained nausea. Cold sweats. There's an unusual tiredness and fatigue. There's unfamiliar dizziness or lightheadedness. Unusual pain in your back, neck, jaw, one or both arms, even your upper stomach are signs you're having a heart attack. Don't make excuses. Make the call to 911 immediately. Learn more at womenshealth.gov/heartattack.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist!
Use STEM to build, create,
she did it,
and change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Welcome back to Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Katherine Reed, and we are talking with Katherine White, who is a co-founder of Network Nova. So Katherine,
Yes.
So much information.
I know.
So much information, but I want to talk a little bit about the Women's Summit. We talked about how it started in 70 days in 2017, 2018, 3 women elected to Congress.
Yes.
2019 was important because this is where you saw the culmination in year 3 of actually getting out and women supporting women running for office.
Right. No, that's really important. I mean, that was one thing that's really on our list, is always been supporting women and women of color to office. We just felt like, you got to be in the seat, have a seat at the table, and women need that support and help. And so this is one of our goals, and it still is really helping progressive candidates, but we really focus on women. Like yourself running for office, Katherine.
There you go, myself running for office.
Yes, a mayor of Fairfax City. So somebody like you is just like, ooh, we got to make sure we get Katherine on the show. I mean, we'll just go back to the power lunch real quick. That's what we would do, and that's a great place we could do that year round. And then at the event, invite candidates to come and speak, really give you more presence and help you do a lot of things on your campaign.
And also identifying, like you mentioned Wendy Goditis, which was a great, because that was a hard-won seat, and keeping her in that seat has been hard, but women know that. Right now there's canvases out for Jennifer Wexton, because and also Elaine Luria and Abigail Spanberger. But it's kind of like there are people whose seats are in a more competitive district, and so knowing this is where we need people to phone bank or canvass or turn out on the weekend, and deploying the assets of your community to make sure women are elected, which they were in 2019.
Oh yeah, I mean in 2017 it was 15 seats, and then in 19
that was a surprise.
That was not to us. It was a surprise to other people. I'll be honest with you. We worked really hard.
Prince William County, man. Prince William County. I remember that night so well.
Yes, I mean, but we really knew, because we were helping every candidate, where the Democratic Party decided maybe they were thinking 4 to 8 flip. But we were helping everybody. So we knew the little secret that we were there, so that was exciting. And in 2019, we wanted more, and we got it. And then, when we took back power across the state, Democrats had power for 2 years, and we did a heck of a lot. And that was the beauty of why we do the work. I mean, it's because we care about the issues, and the candidates are great, but you need candidates to carry your issue, and that's the purpose of this, is to care about your community, care about what really helps people, and you have to do that by getting involved in this, voting. Very important. When we vote, we win is our motto.
That's right.
We started out with that. We haven't stopped that one, but it really is what really helped our state when we saw what all of our efforts turned into, and the wonderful things that got done in those 2 years, right? More ease in voting. Look, we have early voting now because of Democrats.
Early voting, same-day registration becomes effective October 1 of this year.
Yes.
Drop boxes.
I mean, and look, and then when we lost power in this devastating last gut punch race, then what we do have protected is our voting. So where other states are watching Republican legislatures just sort of do a lot of voter suppression, our state is safe. And Glenn Youngkin won in a state with Democrats giving early voting, and he took advantage of it too. It's a fair, good election, and it just shows you that it's, when you have a fair process, it comes out the way it should come out. And it's great that we were able to pass that, and a lot of those laws protecting women's reproductive rights. We did some reform on public safety, banned chokeholds. There's a lot of things that got done under Democrats, and I'm super proud of being part of that. I feel like really all the groups that were involved in this, all the summits, all the stuff my husband would complain about I was never home for. I'm like, look at what we did. Look at what we did. This is great,
So one of the things that was passed, and I would just mention, is that the General Assembly passed moving May municipal elections to November, which is why I'm running in a November race for the first time ever in the history of Fairfax City.
It makes so much sense.
Well, it does, because there's generally a very low voter turnout in May, like less than 20%. And now the election will be during the midterms, at least 50%. And then the next election will be in a presidential year, which is always the highest voter turnout. So it changes the landscape of who participates in town governments and city governments.
Oh, yeah.
And I, for one, support more people voting. I'm all about more people voting.
Yeah, exactly.
So not everybody feels good about that, but I feel good about that.
No, I think it's important, and I think that's what we've shown in Virginia, that it really it benefited both parties. It's not just to benefit one party, so that was good. And you brought up our congressional seats, and this year, we have all the redistricting.
Right.
And a lot of voters aren't really paying attention. They may not know they're not in the same district, but say Don Beyer, Jerry Conley. We saw our district lines have changed, and this really puts 2 of our seats at risk that we won.
Right.
Elaine Lurie's in a tougher race. She got redistricted out of her own house. Like, her house isn't in her district any longer. And Jennifer Wexon got pulled into Rappahannock a little bit more. So all of the the senators, and next year it's going to be a big race. In 2023, you're going to have all the local, House, Senate. It's going to be really
so I'm going to give everybody like a 60-second history of politics in Virginia.
Okay, this is going to be good. I'm waiting.
Harry Byrd Sr., who was a Dixiecrat. So when we talk about Democrats in the South, they were Dixiecrats, and they were segregationists. He was a segregationist. And so our Constitution was written by segregationists. And so we are one of only 2 states with off-year elections for governor, us in New Jersey. And of course, New Jersey tends to be bluer than we are. We're the only state left in the United States with a 1-term governor, right? And because of these off-year elections, we have elections every single year in Virginia.
It's exhausting.
Plus, we have municipal elections.
Right.
Up until this year, we had May elections, 2. So when you talk about the 4th year in the cycle, which is next year, you are talking about every member of the House of Delegates, every state senator.
Right.
You were talking about constitutional offices, your sheriff,
school
board of supervisors. So these are the local offices closest to your front door.
Right.
They're the ones that make the most difference in your quality of life.
Yes.
It is the lowest voter turnout in the 4-year cycle. And that is by design.
Exactly.
And it needs to be redesigned. Virginia is way past needing to redesign what a segregationist put into place to promote voter suppression.
Yeah, because it is exhausting and it's hard to keep up with it, right? And so I think this year will be interesting to see how this turns out. And again, this is something why these consistent events, because we are, for instance, out of the coalition that I work with also, besides doing the events and doing the Friday Power Lunch, we're always, working with different coalition members like Louisa's group, and we're doing an early vote group. So we're making sure that voters understand their voting rights, when to do it, how to register, and this is really important when you have, like you said, all these ways that people can get confused, or maybe not even know how to, if they fill out their ballot and don't, because of COVID, they didn't have to have a witness. This year, they're going to if you're mailing it in, you have to make sure you have your witness on there. And we're not pushing same-day registration until it's totally deadlined out, and then we'll push it because it's provisional.
It's provisional ballots. But the very fact that, because I was talking to a young hostess that I was meeting somebody at Artie's in Fairfax, and I was meeting Nancy, and Nancy had told the hostess that I was coming and I was running for mayor of Fairfax City. So leaving, I said, so are you registered to vote in Fairfax City?
Right.
And the young woman at the hostess stand goes, well, no, I'm not registered yet. I'm like, well, you need to get registered.
Do you have the QR code on your phone yet?
Right, not I should have. I mean, like, but early voting starts September 23rd, and that's 45 days of early voting. We had, I think, in Fairfax City, 33% of people voted early in the governor's race in 2021. So if it was 33% in 2021, we feel like it's going to be more than that.
Yeah.
So really, the election day is not November 8th. It's a 45-day window that starts September 23rd.
Yeah.
And so that's also something for people to get accustomed to get used to, that you can vote anytime. You don't have to have an excuse like you used to.
Yeah. I always worry people, you can show up in person, or that people think they have so many opportunities. I think people do like to go vote election day. When I talk to people, they're like, I want to vote election day. But I want to make sure before we wrap up that we get to a little bit more about the Women's Summit. I'm pretty excited. When we talked about, one of our goals was to kind of break down silos that we found coming into this political landscape in Virginia. The party seems to be pretty siloed. You know, people aren't talking to each other. So we try to break those down, and we realized that's why we did the Adopt a Candidate, go to different areas. That wasn't done before. And so now everybody is doing this, but Virginia is my district. It was one of those concepts we came up with, and we believed in it. And when in 2019, and we met a lot of the rural candidates running, well, they lost. And they were going to lose some of these races, but they're important that they run because we win, because people come out, democracy is working, there's somebody there championing those values, you know. But we went out to meet with them. No one else had went out there, and we sat at the table with them, and now we've grown these great relationships with the Rural Ground Game, with Lindley Thorne. Her group out there is really doing some amazing things. So last year, our Women's Summit is coming out of COVID, we did hybrid. Why do one event? We did 3. You know, so we have the rural one, we went to Virginia Beach, and Nova. And this year, it's the same format. We're doing 3 in-person events. We just got done with the Nova. I'm heading this Thursday down to the Shenandoah area.
To Waynesboro.
Waynesboro for the Basic Brewery. We'll have a nice social that night. And Saturday, we'll be in Nelly's Ford at the full day doing just an outdoor event with speakers, and it will be fantastic. And then we head to 757 Virginia Beach for the Women's Summit down for Elaine Luria, September 16th through 18th. And then we have an online program, and we created this new thing because we're always innovating. We have the all-in community, kind of the Virginia My District idea. Cool. And we thought, you know, what do we need? We need to get off, if we're off Facebook, and we need to find a private community and make it our own. And this way we work within it. It sort of looks like Facebook, but it isn't. And it's private. And so we're building that community. We can have our workshops online in that community. We can post in that community. We can do Zoom in that community. It's pretty cool. And because we're always looking forward, like building our coalition, having a directory, and then now having this online community. And you know, we'll see if it works. We're hopeful.
Well, I think you've been very adaptive. I'm in the private community, and so I see the emails come up when someone has posted something.
Right.
You know, and the thing is, I can tell from the subject line whether I want to click through and look at it and make a comment, or it's like, well, I can skip that one or skip that one. So that's the other kind of nice thing about the way it's set up.
For the all-in. You can control your notifications. You can get a daily digest too.
That's probably what I should do, because I see them come up.
You have to go do your notifications, because if it's busy, boy, it's like ping, ping, ping.
I know. Yes, I've noticed.
But it is all cool, and then we really believe in, you know, every year we come up with the concept, and this year it's all in. And I think democracy is really on the line. I really, you know, I never thought in 17, when millions of women stood up, that we would be where we are, to seeing the insurrection happen. You know, really, it's very scary to watch. And when Roe was overturned is when I realized it is really all in. We have to go all in. Women's rights,
it's all on the line.
LGBTQ, it's all on the line, my friend. And I'm glad to be on the line with you.
Well, we've still got one segment left to go, so don't go anywhere, you at home, because we still have another segment to go with Katherine White. She is one of the co-founders of Network Nova. And we're not done yet. There's still more for you to learn.
There is. Always learning.
There's always learning.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
Mom, I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
Sorry.
Bye, Grandpa.
Bye, Grandpa.
Take care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Welcome back to Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Katherine Reed, and we're talking with Katherine White, who is one of the co-founders of Network Nova. So, Katherine,
Yes.
so much still to talk about.
I know.
I want to talk a little bit about your team.
Yes, I love my team. And I call them my team. They're the team, the Network Nova women. We're unstoppable.
Truly.
That's what we like to call ourselves. And you know, like we said, we started with Stare Calhoun and then Robin Warner. And she really makes things happen. I mean, Robin has this technical technique that makes us look so professional.
Very
she
professional.
Is so smart and so good. And then, you know, what's really great, we realized too, is we had to grow our team. And really couldn't do it alone. And also we understood we were 3 white women, and we needed to be diverse, and we couldn't just stay in our bubble. And we really learned that over the 3 years that, that really helps for even content. And when you sometimes could really miss something if you're not diversifying, even from young and old, we're all like over 55.
Yep, I know. I'm right there with you.
So we're like,
I'm aware.
Hey,
I'm very aware.
And it just makes you stronger and better. And so we added to our team. We have Fennell Norton, who actually ran for office in House District 100. And what's cool about the Friday Power Lunch, she found us. And that's how we really helped her with her campaign. She come every Friday. She goes, I'm running for office, that's how we help people. They came to that Friday Power Lunch. We connected them resources. They listened to different speakers, and they really helped them run. It was amazing to me. I forgot about that other thing about the Friday Power Lunch, how it became a community for candidates, right? But then, Fennell lost her race. Well, we won. We kept Fennell on, and she is awesome. She is our show messenger. That's her title. And we have a younger gal, a mom, and lives in Virginia Beach. She's named Heidi Dragneff. She's our social media diva. And we met her, she started coming to the power lunches, and now she's on the team, and she helps us do social media. And because she's in her 30s, she's a veteran too, she brings a perspective and that we need. Fennell brings that same perspective. And then we also have people now these show messenger helpers. Laura Martinez that helps us in the chat. Michelle McKinney also helps newcomers in the chat. We've really built out our team. And then we have interns now.
I know.
We have high school interns and we have college interns. So they really help us, be a little hipper. And I think that they're sometimes shocked that, how as older women, we're just like, it all hangs out. They learn a lot. Yeah. So, but they bring so much to the table, and we're so excited because this is how, again, we're going to be better in democracy when young people are involved. So the team diversification has helped growing that, and plus it's exhausting. So that help makes us just run so much better. They come every week, and it really makes us successful. And I think we're going to have to grow more, actually.
Well, I love your interns because every once in a while, you will give them a chance to have their say, and their perspective
they've done curated shows for us.
They have. And
the cool thing, let me tell you, so for the internship through school, because they were in high school, that was part of their project. Like, they actually did a complete show for us, and that's what they turned into their school for showing they were with us for 2 weeks. So if you're out there and you want to be with our, this is a great opportunity in high school, in college, give us a call.
Absolutely.
We're looking for
the thing that young people want most of all is to do something. Mm-hmm. Not just to passively sit over there in a corner and watch and learn, and then someday you'll have a show. Oh. It's kind of like, no, they were like, let me try, let me do it, let me curate it, let me have, and I love that. I love the fact that young people are like, no, I want to try it now, I want to do it now, let me do it now.
No, we have a young high school helping us now, Colleen Krana, and she's fantastic. And we had an intern for the summit, and she actually came and did around the clock a college intern, and my goodness, we couldn't have done it without her. So we're trying to always create opportunities. So the show, like I said, who knew we'd move to like interns, and we're always doing something new with it. And like you said, part of it, in that after chat, all these people we've met, Now we're going down to Virginia Beach. All those new friends we met, we can talk to them, and they know we're coming, and they're kind of preparing for us and helping us, smooth that landing for us into Virginia Beach. So we're not outsiders.
I think that's important too.
Yeah.
We have more in common than things that separate us, even in Virginia.
Right.
And I love the fact that you reach and you create community, and you're always welcoming people into the fold. So let's talk a little bit about what is going to happen in 2023 because of redistricting.
Oh, yeah.
And suddenly it's a different ballgame. We've got some districts that have 3 candidates in them. My district, District 11, has no candidate in it, but we're hoping David Bulova is going to move into Fairfax City. Please let David Bulova move into Fairfax City. So, because right now in our district there isn't anybody.
Right.
So
what is the number? So
11.
That's 11.
We're the House District 11.
There's also 15 in Burke that doesn't have anybody.
Exactly.
Right now.
And so here's where we are. But for people who are like, but I'm a voter.
Yeah, we're talking inside talk right now.
Right. So I'm a voter. So where am I? Well, you're still in your same house.
Right.
But I'm going to give a shout out to vpap.org, which is the Virginia Public Access Project.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to vpap.org and put in your street address, it will tell you every district that you're in, congressional, House, Senate, and who is currently representing you, if somebody's representing you. And it will give you an idea of who you should be looking for, candidate-wise, next year, because it's a lot.
It is a lot. And I was hoping we actually, probably no one, very few of us, but that we would run for the House seats this year. I really felt like we had an opportunity to win and then had a whole
legislative session under
winning. Yeah. But I think it was so confusing. Both parties, I don't think were interested in it. But it really, if it's about voting and democracy, right now it's kind of so confusing. Even for me, I'll go into the districts, and you can go on VPAP, which is vpap.org, right?
Yep, it is vpap.org.
It's like my favorite. But it's like you look at the old map, the new map. Who's in it? There could be 3 people in it. I think Eileen Fuller-Corn and Kathy Tranter in the same district. People will be retiring. People will be. This is what is fun about politics. Now you see the power moves. Who's moving where? Danica Rome is now running for Senate. So she's stepping up out of her. I am too.
But then who was going to run for her seat? So there's just a lot of movement
it is
around.
Movement. And it's really hard because part of what we like to do as candidate, we like to help candidates, and now we're realizing we should also be recruiting candidates. And so at this rural event and in Virginia Beach, we have to remind ourselves, because it's really good for us to be now in those seats showing our strength, not letting them sit empty. I think it's really powerful that we start doing that now, because this is going to be fast, and next year is going to be so important in Virginia. We have a chance to really keep Virginia go back to being Democratic stronghold, because what we see in states like Kansas, with the after the overturning of Roe, the dangerous and cruel things that are happening to women and girls across these states, keeping our legislature Democratic will protect women and girls and trans communities and so on from these harmful laws. And it's again, terrible.
And I think we have to be concerned about the attack on the LGBTQ community,
thank you.
same-sex marriage, even contraception. All of a sudden, the contraception.
Well, in vitro, IVF on all these things. But it's just the pure race to the bottom of cruelty. And the chaos that's created across what people, like each state just doing something different, not, really some states worse than others. And what we saw was this hope with the Kansas vote, where the people got to come out and vote. No candidates, it was very not, no candidate on the ballot. It was really about the issue. And I think what we see is that what we know is that overwhelmingly Americans support reproductive choice, privacy, and don't want the government interfering. And I think that vote just sums it up. If they would let everybody vote, the majority would win. But unfortunately, these states are rigged in a way to not put that on the ballot the way Kansas did, and the state legislatures are doing these horrible things in each state, even a little differently.
I know, and and the thing is, the Supreme Court, first of all, I just think we all feel so used. I mean, it's not like we didn't know Brett Kavanaugh was lying. Of course we knew he was lying.
Yes.
But here we are, and we couldn't do anything about it. And we've got these conservative justices who are basically not elected in lifetime positions, and they're making decisions that are taking away rights from people for the first time in history.
First time in history.
And what do you do about that?
It's so disingenuous, the Alito decision, if you read it, the write-up, I mean, it goes back to just like 1790s. I'm just making the data, but really referring to like when women weren't in the, women still aren't in the Constitution or rights, right? But back then, women didn't vote, slaves obviously, or people of color didn't have a vote, and so now he's referring back to that's the America that he's basing his judgment on, or something. You're like, it's really unbelievable to watch women be relegated to second-class citizen, or really being wiped out like that was overwhelming. And
it is, and you know, in the Women's March gave us something to do.
Yes.
And you know, you used the word, we felt the power,
Yeah.
and then things happened.
realized-
Women got elected. So many women across the United States,
Yes.
state legislatures, federal office. Kamala Harris is our vice president.
Right.
You know, things happened. We did things. And yet, despite everything we did, this is where we find ourselves. And like,
Yes.
you have to say, what more? How long are we going to keep doing this only to feel like we're not progressing?
Well, I've always known, being a woman, my background in women's studies, and I've told people that women's history or our progress doesn't go like this. It goes like this. And I remember years ago saying, "Oh, you know, will women keep this ability,
this trajectory,
being educated, being able to have a family and go out to work, and all these things?" And what we've seen is that a minority voice can pull women back into the dark ages. You saw it in other countries. We're not alone. This is happening in some other places in the globe. But I want people at home to think about this, whether your position on where you are on the, you know, Roe decision, or on how you feel about abortion, is that America is supposed to be the shining light across the country, and we help women across the whole globe. So what happened was also to American women, but also internationally, it's also just as drastic, because we really care for so many women across in these different states. We send aid, you know, contraception, family planning, and all. And in other constitutions, women they're in the Constitution. We are not in the Constitution, yet we're supposed to be this shining light. So yes, here women are making these gains. We're in elected office. But now we're finding the Supreme Court, there's something going on there where that was really stacked, and purposely for 30 years to get certain people there. And obviously, you know, we know what happened when Merrick Garland didn't get on, and the domino effect happened, and you have these judges that were purposely put there to overturn this. And well, it is. I mean, we're off on a tangent, but this is what I love.
You know, but here's
this
the
is
thing.
My thing.
This was a reality check. This is a reality check.
Yes.
But the thought we're going to leave people with is there's something you can do. There's a community for you. There's a community you can tap into every Friday. There's a place that you can go and find people who care the way you do.
Yes.
There is a summit for you to go to in Virginia, and there will be next year again. So for that, Katherine White, I thank you so much.
You're welcome. And join us on the Friday Power Lunch.
Absolutely.
You become a Patreon.
There you go. And so thank you at home for watching. This has been a dynamic conversation, as it always is with Katherine White. And if you are interested in getting engaged and getting involved, then Network Nova is the organization for you.